2003 racing season. Highly competitive racing, though unfortunately lots of attrition in the third race, but nonetheless, everyone off to a great start here in Sarasota. Airborne on the inside, Airborne, a 40-foot skater, Mercury-powered. Randy Leinbach, the driver, Bob Morgan, the throttle man. Powered by Mercury engines, two 750-horsepower Mercuries. Airborne took a fourth place in Daytona, sixth in Marathon, Florida, a second in Savannah, fifth in Milwaukee, currently in fourth place in the national point standings in Supercat. Bacardi Silver on the outside, a battle here in PX class. Airborne sponsors include Forge Tubular, Amsoil, BioClean, Boat Trader Online, Torco Racing Fuels, MagnaFlow, and Crystal Cleaners. Battle here between Airborne and Bacardi Silver in the early moments of this race. Randy Leinbach and Bob Morgan, driver and throttle man. Randy from Washington Township, Michigan. Bob from Missouri. Bacardi Silver on the outside, Airborne on the inside. Battle here in the early moments of the X class, race number 2. Bacardi Silver on the outside, getting a little edge. How Sweet It Is coming up in third place. How Sweet It Is with John Peterson and Roy Schrader. John, the driver and throttle man, Roy, the navigator. How Sweet It Is. It's a skater, John Peterson, the owner of this legendary boat. How Sweet It Is. Nice driving there by John Peterson. He's also the throttle man, Roy Schrader, the navigator. They're from Goleta, California. Coming up, White Knuckles. It's Mercury-powered, two 525 horsepower inboards. White Knuckles driver is Troy Wood. John Trotto is a throttle man of Massachusetts. This boat took fourth place in Daytona, fourth in Marathon, and fourth in Milwaukee, currently in fifth place in the national point standings. White Knuckles owner, John Trotto. Sponsors include Hyannis Collision. Other crew members, John Tyler from Hyannisport, Massachusetts. Now, White Knuckles is also part of the Competitive Edge racing team headed by Steve Schmidt. Other competitors in P1, Flowmaster, how sweet it is, American Dream, and Snake Man Racing. Currently, White Knuckles in first place in B1. Troy Wood and John Troutto, driver and throttleman, on board White Knuckles. All right, coming up now, there is Liquid Metal. Liquid Metal is a 36-foot skater, Mercury-powered, two 500-horsepower inboards. John Talley, the driver, Bob Teague, the throttleman. Liquid Metal took a first place in Daytona, third in Marathon, a first in Savannah, and a second in Milwaukee. Currently in first place in the national point standings in class. Liquid Metal. Once again, this race for these PX boats just basically a test run for the finale, which will take place in race 4 on Sunday. Sponsors for Liquid Metal include Teak Custom Marine and Lavorsi Marine. Lots and lots of spectators this summer. Liquid Metal, John Talley and Bob Teague, Mercury powered. Other competitors in PX class, how sweet it is. Airborne and Bacardi Silver. And Mikusuki all coming up. Race start here in race number 3. Puts your leader right now for the moment, but they're all right coming up. Adrenaline, Donzi, Spider-Man, Lucas Oil. And there is Spider-Man on the inside. Spider-Man, Lucas Oil on the outside. Spider-Man, a 38-foot skater, Mercury powered. Todd Welly is the driver. Lance Hendrickson, the throttle man. Great battle here between Lucas Oil and Spider-Man. Spider-Man took a first place in St. Cloud, a fourth in Daytona, first in Marathon, first in Savannah. Had some problems in Milwaukee and is currently in second place in the national point standings. Sponsor, Douglas Marine. Lucas Oil on the outside. Lucas Oil, it's a scarab. Spider-Man going around the turn. But Foods Quality Foods, your leader right now at this point. Mitch Miller and Matt Rice on board Hoods. Spider-Man and Lucas Oil on the outside. Great battle here in the early moments of this race. As we mentioned before, Jeff Girardi had the opportunity to throttle Spider-Man in Milwaukee. Very, very impressive boat, he says. 38-foot V-bottom skater. Spider-Man. Todd Welling, the driver. Lance Hendrickson, the throttle-man from California. Additional sponsors include Mercury Racing, Redco Tools, Bronson Propellers, Option B Apparel, and Go Fast Energy Drink. Spider-Man in second place in Super V. Up ahead, Foods Quality Foods, your leader. Spider-Man on the outside, Todd Welling and Lance Hendrickson. Top of San Carlos, California. Lance from, also from California, Huntington, California. Beautiful Fort Lauderdale Beach. Spider-Man, third in points in the national point standings. Sponsors include Douglas Marine. Also, Matco Tools, Mercury Racing, Bronson Propellers, Option B Apparel, and Go Fast Energy Drink. .39-foot skater. You're watching race number 3 of this 2003 Fort Lauderdale Offshore Grand Prix. A great racing this morning, races 1 and 2. There's Pier 57 with Bill McComb and Rick Turmel. Bumpy waters here up in Fort Lauderdale. Todd Welling and Lance Henderson, driver and throttleman. Spider-Man took a 4th place in Sarasota, 3rd, a 1st in Savannah, 1st in Marathon, 1st in St. Cloud. Had some problems in Milwaukee. There's Spider-Man and Ederay in a battle here. Spider-Man and Ederay squeegee in Super V. James Richardson Jr. and Dennis Segala's on board Ederay. Todd Welling and Lance Henderson on Spider-Man. Both powered by Mercury. Spider-Man and Ederay here battling for 4th and 5th place. Right now your leaders in Super V are Dante, H&H Speed, Marina, and Fury, 1, 2, and 3. Spider-Man in fourth, Ettore in fifth. In the national point standings in Super V, it's Donzi, Ettore Squeegee, Spider-Man, and it's Castaway. So depending on how these boats do here in their competition, could affect St. Petersburg National Championships. Cal Marine shot out of a cannon, hosing down Agitator right there. Cal Marine 5,000 horsepower turbine engines. Agitator getting the brunt of that hosing down. Other boats coming up. We got Incontent, American Dream, White Knuckles, and Dirty Duck. And there they are. We're off to a great start here in St. Petersburg. Cal Marine, your leader on the inside. There is Agitator coming up. Incontent. Also Bacardi Silver on the outside. Agitator to skater. Charles Amon is the driver. Robert McNeil, the throttle man. Charles Amon, also the owner of Agitator. P132 getting hosed down there in the early moments of this race. First national race in the APBA for Agitator. A legendary boat, many checkered flags. Lots of history aboard Agitator. Many checkered flags, as we said, some 17 years of history. This boat was restored for this race. Going around the turn, there is the pier, which spectators have a great view of this race. Some of the sponsors for Agitator include White Oak Auto and Marine, CNC Motorsports, and Preferred Power Marine out of Fairfield, Ohio. Incontent on the right, Agitator on the left. Off to a great start in race number one here at the St. Petersburg National Championships. There is Agitator with Charles Amon and Robert McNeil. Charles from Ohio, Cincinnati. Robert from Fairfield, Ohio. Incontent there on the right side. Incontent going by. Incontent, we got Paul Whittier, the driver, and Thomas Stegliano is the throttle man on board Incontent, P160. Charles Amon and Robert McNeil on Agitator battle here in the early moments of this race. P1 class. Freeze Frame Video Productions would like to welcome the Agitator Racing team to the national circuit of the APBA. First in class, Agitator. On board Agitator now. They're going to get hosed down now by Cal Marine. Let's watch. Now they're getting it. They're getting it good. Charles Amon and Robert McNeil on board Agitator getting hosed down by Cal Marine at the start of the race. Bacardi Silver on the left side of your screen. Our helicopter to the right side. Russell Kilpatrick, our helicopter pilot. Charles Amon and Robert McNeil on board Agitator. It's a skid. As we said before, this is a 17-year-old boat, and it is a legend. Many checkered flags to its credit, and they restored it for this race in new race condition. All right, back to our helicopter shot. Agitator and In Contempt battling it out here in P1. In Contempt with an edge. Around the turn. And we're going to go with In Contempt right now. It's a skater, 3625 Mercury's. Thomas Tagliano is the driver. Paul Whittier is the throttle man. Currently in second place in the national point standings. Took a second in Fort Lauderdale and second in Sarasota. Special thanks to John Vanderstein from Offshore Concepts. Other competitors in P1 class include Pacemaker, Agitator, we saw a little while ago, Dirty Duck, White Knuckles Racing, and American Dream. Right now we're watching In Contempt. In first place. Thomas Tagliano, the driver, and Paul Whittier, the throttle man, on board In Contempt, 36-foot skater, Mercury powered. Master with Todd Warner, the driver, and John Engel, the throttle man. Mercury powered. It's a skater. 40-foot skater, in fact. In PX class. There's ATC on the inside. ATC leader in class. But Flowmaster in PX class. Other competitors in class include Bacardi Silver and Liquid Metal. Currently, Flowmaster is in second place. Kinetic animation on the inside, being passed by Flowmaster. Bacardi Silver in the lead in PX class, Liquid Metal in third. Flowmaster in second place. Lots and lots of spectator boats in the background here for these national championships in St. Petersburg. 4 races in all, some 90 competitors. Race